All right, Algebra 1 folks, we are still working in 1.01 algebraic expressions. Specifically, we're going to be writing expressions with sums and differences in this video. So a sum, whoops, not an eraser, I want a pen. A sum means addition, and a difference means subtraction. So it's important that you're taking notes here at home. And so you'll have these notes in your binder or wherever it is where you keep all your notes. So the first example, we're writing expressions with addition and subtraction. So the first example here that I'm going to look at, I have other videos that go over some words that tell us when to use which operation, and I'll make sure those are in the curriculum as well. So they're probably going to come before this in the resources. But our first example is 5 times the sum of x and 3. And so in this example, it's important that you notice that the sum of x and 3 is what we're multiplying 5 by. So we're not multiplying 5 by just x. We're not multiplying 5 by just 3. We're multiplying 5 by all of x plus 3. And so we can see that by saying the sum of is saying multiply it by all of them. So I'm going to put this in blue, and I'm going to have 5 and times, and the sum of is going to be in orange. And hopefully I can make sense of why I'm doing each of those. So 5 times says I am multiplying 5 by something, and it's the sum of, and that tells me that I need to have some parentheses because I'm adding these things together, the x and the 3, whoops, the x and the 3 are being added together, and then we're multiplying by 5. Now, really, I don't need this multiplication symbol in there because when I put 5 right next to the parentheses, that means multiplication. And so that is the way we can write it. Ultimately, this is the way I would want to see it, but this is fine. All right. So notice that the translation includes the parentheses. So translating from the words to the math symbols includes the parentheses, because if we did 5x plus 3, these things would not be equal. All right. So the sum of tells us that we need some parentheses there. Any questions so far? All right, no questions so far. So let's go on to the next example. And so in the next one, we're going to look at an expression. It's going to be, sorry, twice the sum of x and 5. Now, this is very similar, except for we have the sum of, which we need to make sure that we remember, all right, well, we're going to do this addition before we do other things. And twice there tells us there's multiplication. Twice means 2 times. And so remembering that that means 2 times is really key. So we have 2 times or twice the sum of And in this case, we are adding x and 5 together. So the sum of tells us addition in parentheses, and we're adding x and 5, and we're multiplying by 2. So that's how that one works. The next one is 8 less than 5 times a number. 8, notice that sometimes I write the number, sometimes I write the word, and that's okay. 8 less than 5 times a number. And so with that one, the 8 less than 8 less than, that tells us that we're using subtraction. Less than tells us subtraction. So, but it's got to be switched. The order is switched. It's not 8 minus something. It's not 8 minus something. It's 8 less than, which tells us we're subtracting 8 from something. 8 less than says subtract 8 from something. 8 less than, and then we need to, because it's less than all of this, we need parentheses because we're subtracting 8 from all of it. And so, well, it's not going to be parentheses in this case, but it could be in other cases. So in this case, 5 times a number. Well, let's do 5 times. So, and then a number. So that a number, that is our variable x, all right? So 5 times a number says 5 times x. So we're subtracting 8 from 5 times x. So 5x minus 8. Questions on that one? All right, you might see questions that look like 6 times, whoops, that's not times, times the quantity, and you'll hear me say the quantity quite often when I'm doing math work, n plus 7. And the quantity tells us that there are parentheses involved. That's how we read parentheses. So here, the quantity, that says there are going to be parentheses. We have 6 times means we're multiplying 6 by something. And n plus 7 is what is inside the parentheses because it's the quantity n plus 7. So the way this is going to look in math symbols, 6 times the quantity, and inside the parentheses, n plus 7. And that parentheses is a little bit far away there. I can just move it over. So the quantity means parentheses. And I'm going to do one more example here before we end this video, at least one more. And in this one, it is going to be the quantity n minus 6 cubed. So this one is hard to tell what we actually are cubing. I would say that we need a parenthesis or a comma there, but in the curriculum they don't have a comma. And it also, if I were reading this out this expression, I'll show you how I would read it so you know what I'm saying. but I think that really we need a comma here, to be honest. Hopefully this doesn't cause any problems in your assignments. So again, we have the quantity. And what is the quantity? Well, the quantity is n minus 6. And what are we doing to that quantity? We are cubing it, which means raised to the third power. Raised to the third power. So we have the quantity, parentheses, n minus 6 raised to the third power, or cubed. So that is the quantity n minus 6 cubed. So that's the way I would read it. The quantity n minus 6 Oz cubed. Because if I said the quantity n minus 6 cubed, it might look like this. The quantity n minus 6 cubed. So that's why I say use this comma here, but in the curriculum it doesn't have it. So do be on the lookout for that. If that causes you difficulties, let me know. And the rest of the lesson is looking at some real world situations. And so I now have videos for all of lesson 1.01, and I hope you find them all really useful. Thank you so much.